Don't you just hate it when you're trying to make a cinematic universe and then your first movie is The Mummy? This movie is horrible, nearly as bad as Dead Men Tell No Tales. This movie follows Tom Cruise as he finds a mummy, does some stuff to set up the next movie, and that's more or less the plot. Yeah, no kidding, a third of this movie is just set up for the next movie, or at least it feels like it. Yet again we have an awful plot. How did anyone think that this is acceptable? This is awful. The dialogue is probably the worst in this movie because it managed to be even more frustratingly unfunny than the previous movies on this list. How? How do you make a script that's worse than Transformers 5 and less funny than Dead Men Tell No Tales? This movie doesn't feel like an adventure movie. It feels more like disaster movie. I'm not talking about the genre, I'm talking about that awful parody movie. It feels like it isn't even trying at times. It never makes you feel anything. If you use your brain for even a second while watching this movie, the whole thing is ruined. It's just mindless entertainment for stupid people. People who think that they are men because a part that was meant to be scary didn't scare them, even though that scene wasn't scary at all. The only thing that people seem to like is the mummy herself, played by Sophia Nutella. She never has to emote. If I didn't have to emote in a movie, I would win an Oscar, especially if I was watching a comedy while I was acting. The soundtrack in this movie is the absolute worst, in that I can't remember a single part of it. Okay, I'm being a little bit harsh on this movie. Was there anything redeemable about it? Well, the first action scene did remind me a lot of my second favorite Uncharted game, Drake's Deception, mostly because it was set in the desert, and that's all. It was just set in the desert. Desert equals Uncharted 3, am I right? Other than that, I like Tom Cruise because he's in a lot of good movies, and that's my reason for liking him. And the visuals were sometimes creative, maybe like once.